Very good morning, very good evening to all. Jai Shri Krishna Guruji. Welcome to the Shri Eknathi Bhagavat Satsang. Today we are beginning with the Eknathi Bhagavat, which is composed by the 16th century Maharaj, the revered saint Eknath Maharaj. And he has explained the Uddhava Gita, which is the last message of Shri Krishna to Uddhava in his own very beautiful, soul-stirring and in a simple manner, which will help every individual how to live the way of life. How do we use this knowledge and apply this in our material world and for our spiritual upliftment and attain the moksham or liberation. And most important, how do we live in this world a God-pleasing life? That is what Eknath Maharaj has broken down in his own words, the beautiful teachings of Lord Shri Krishna's Uddhava Gita, which was imparted before his departure from this planet Earth. So today, with that, let us begin the beautiful scripture and welcoming you all to this, amazing journey on this Shri Eknathi Bhagavat. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswatai Namaha, Om Shri Guru Datatre Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Now, I just explained to you, what is the scripture all about. So, just a little very small background about Eknath Maharaj. Like I said, he's a revered Maharashtrian saint from 16th century. And he has first explained this beautiful scripture, translated in Marathi and for people to understand in a very simple manner. And the beautiful thing about it is he has broken down in a way which we can relate, like every person can relate in their own way and apply that in their own life for their own upliftment. And Eknath Maharaj's Gurudev, his name is Lord Janardana. So Janardhan Swami is Eknath Maharaj's Gurudev, and Janardhan Swami was initiated by Lord Dattatreya himself. So Janardhan Swami's Guru is Lord Dattatreya. So this is a very this is the background of these gurus. So now let us begin. So today we'll be starting with chapter 1. So let me give you a synopsis of what is in chapter 1. So Shri Eknathi Bhagavat, chapter 1. Auspicious prayers, story of the King Parikshit, the unprecedented glory of the life of Lord Shri Krishna, his plan to destroy the Yadava race in order to relieve the earth of the burden of unbridled, arrogant persons, destruction of the race due to the anger of Brahmin, manifestation of Musal, that is pounding rod, in the stomach of Samba. Yadavas pulverize the rod and throw the dust in the sea with the remaining iron piece. The dust grew into grass. The piece of iron was swallowed by a fish. The fisherman catches the fish, cuts it, finds the iron piece and uses it as the sharp edge of his sword, sharp edge of his arrow. So that's the synopsis of what we will be learning in chapter 1. So let us begin. Shri Eknathi Bhagavat, chapter 1. Om, salutations to Shri Ganesh, salutations to Goddess Saraswati, salutations to Shri Guru, salutations to Shri Dattatreya, salutations to Divine Rukmini and Panduranga. Om, my salutations to respected Shri Janardana, the Guru of Shri Eknath, identified with the Lord Ganesha. In your being, there is no concept of beginning or end. By discarding the duality of I and you, I bow before your feet in the state of unity. O Shri Ekadanta Gajanana, I also bow to you in the present. You are making manifest the multiplicity in unity. Yet you are not disturbing the unity. Advaita equals non-duality. You are called Lambodara, having a big belly, because within you the whole world, both moving and stationary, exist. And therefore, you are really the nearest relative of all beings. The family life of the man who gets your auspicious glimpse becomes happy, and therefore the name Vignaharta is becoming you very aptly. O Ganaraja, the king of Ganas, your face is joy itself. all the four accomplishments of human life are your face, arms, and your tooth, which shines, gives light to the luminous bodies, stars, planets, etc. The Vedas and the Upanishads, which are respectively the primary doctrine and the secondary doctrine, called Purva Mimamsa and the Uttara Mimamsa, are attached with love to both of your ears, and all the four kinds of speech, with the soundless Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, and Vaikari, are standing with folded hands in your mouth. They are at your command. O Vinayaka, your vision is such that by its power the whole world is seen as Atman and is divine and gives happiness and contentment. Your belly is big, which is full of joy. There is joy also in the navel and the girdle around your middle, which is called Nagabandha, is enhancing your beauty. You are wearing the white cloth of Shuddha Sattva, pure piety, and golden ornaments on your body are appearing beautiful because of the beauty of your own body. Prakriti and Purusha, the female and the male principles, are your 2 feet. You have pressed them down under your body and seated in the natural easy posture. You are very graceful in your completeness. If even for a moment we have the fortune to look at you, calamity is not found, though we hunt for it. This is because of the spade in your hand, which destroys the bondage of worldly life. You pull by your crooked goad you pull by your crooked goad such a devotee who is very dear to you, and freeing him from the disaster of worldly life, keep him safe with you. By giving the sweet modaka, which is joy itself, to your devotee who is really desireless, you give him real ecstasy of divine joy. You are easily established in the smallest object, and therefore the adjective mouse rider is very properly fitting for you. If we observe carefully, you are neither man nor elephant. Thus, you are beyond the visible and invisible. Knowing you to be beyond any modification, Vikara, I most respectfully salute you so that you may help me in writing this book completely. So anything we begin, we always do Shri Ganesh. So here also Eknath Maharaj is offering his obeisance, and he offered his obeisance to Ganesh, Ma Saraswati, his Gurudev, and everybody else. And now he is praising Lord Ganesha and is saying, please, remove all the obstacles on the path while I am beginning to, write this scripture. So that's what he says here. First of all, who is me, who is bowing before such Gajanana? Though a non-doer, has become the expander of the story of this book. Now I will bow before the goddess Saraswati, who is the very image of the power of discrimination between the essential and unessential, and who inspires the tendencies of all the sense organs. She is the teacher of speech, the illuminator of intelligence, and the giver of light to the light, herself being self-luminant. She is the inherent power in the body of Lord Shiv, just like vision in the eyes or the juice in the fruit. Similarly, her relationship with Lord Shiv is beyond logic and without beginning. Just as there is sweetness in sugar and fragrance in the flower, the sweetness of the Atman is infused in the 4 kinds of speech with all its greatness, and therefore the goddess Saraswati, who is the presiding deity of speech, makes it possible for the reader to experience the good taste of the meaning of the book. In the world, there are men of wisdom who are really the swans, dividing the essential and the unessential, and on the back of such swan, this deity rides in an uncanny, unimaginable posture, which appears to be very relaxed at the same time. Those who have attained the high rank of Hansa really understand the nature of this goddess who is riding on the Paramahamsa. But those who are stupid, dull, unlucky cannot even see her, though she is very near. Hansa is a yogi who has gone up the gone up on the ladder of the path of nivritti, that is withdrawal, from withdrawal, 4 rungs of initiations. And Paramahamsa is the master yogi who has escaped the chain of births and deaths and is fully liberated. The word stupid is used here for ordinary people who are bound by desires. If we try to understand her character or her nature, she is without form, but at the same time, the whole universe is her form. And it is she who makes articulate the exquisite content of the books like this Bhagavata. When we say, these are good words, we use words only. Similarly, when we praise this goddess of speech, we use speech only. This is like a praise of the speech by the speech. That greatness, that great goddess who is of the nature of the playfulness of speech, who is beautiful in all respects, dwells within me as also outside me, and makes it possible for me to tell equally beautiful meaning of this book. She is always pleased, as is her very nature to be happy, and therefore the commentary has become colorful. But she has taken extreme care that I will not be proud of being the speaker. Here the goddess of speech is praised by speech only, and therefore there is no scope for duality to enter in my mind. And here Eknath Maharaj says something very beautiful. What does he say? He says, but she has taken extreme care that I will not be proud of being a speaker. This is something which we all have to understand. Please understand, this knowledge is the words of the Divine Lord's wisdom. If I say I am doing this, I am expounding, or I am giving this explanation, that itself speaks of ego. So this body is just a vehicle, but the words are of my Gurudev's wisdom, because he has instructed me to do this scripture. It is Lord Shri Krishna Bhagavan, it is Eknath Maharaj's blessing that, his grace that I'm able to read this beautiful scripture and give the exposition. So whatever the words have to come from my mouth, the Lord, it's the wisdom of the Divine Master. So this is nowhere that I can say I am teaching or this is credit to me. So that's what he says, that Ma Saraswati ensures that the speaker is not being proud. So we should never take credit for anything in our world, because the moment the ego comes, the fall is imminent. So be very careful. Never say that I am the greatest. And see, especially in the spiritual path, and especially when we are evolving, we are not, there's nothing like I know. The I know is an ego. The moment we think that we know, we will fall down with that little knowledge that is there. So we have to always understand that we have to give credit. My Guruji very beautifully will explain. See, whatever the knowledge today, whether it's me or anybody else who's learning under him, when I say, oh, this is what, my Guruji has taught, the acknowledgement has to be, it is my Guruji who has given me this knowledge, or I read in the scripture and this is what my Guruji has explained. But if I do not give that acknowledgement and I just go talk to people and make it into thinking that it is my knowledge, and that itself is a failure, which means I have actually gotten into having that ego. The ego has come into me. So always understand, we have to be very humble. Humility is the word, and don't take credit for anything. Being proud is disaster. So pride and arrogance doesn't work. And here also, this is who's talking. Eknath Maharaj himself is saying that Ma Saraswati ensures that I will not be proud of being the speaker, because these words are of the divine wisdom. So I cannot be proud that, oh, I am giving the satsang. That's very wrong. So we always have to learn with humility and humbleness, with love in our heart, and not with ego or arrogance, because knowledge will not enter. The words will not come from our mouth. So we have to always give the acknowledgement to the Divine Lord. So it is my Guruji's grace that the words are flowing from my mouth. It is the Divine Lord's grace that I am being able to sit here and do this satsang today. And we have begun on a very beautiful day. Yesterday was Basant Panchami. It marks the beginning of a new month, that is the spring season, a new season. And also we believe it is the birth of Ma Saraswati. knowledge is born. And today, with this beautiful beginning, we are also here, like Eknath Maharaj is giving his praises to Ma Saraswati and seeking her blessing. So that's what we are doing. So let us continue. She has destroyed the speech and the act of speaking, broken completely the silence of muteness, but she has brought into expression the commentary in such a way that she has made articulate that which cannot be put into words. When I set about to bow before such goddess Saraswati by separating myself from her, the sense of I-ness together with the Paravani, the voice of silence, the abstract aspect of origin of speech, disappeared. Where there is absence of I-ness, where is the scope for the sense of you? Even then, somehow, she is filling the great blessing in the argument concerning the subject matter. Just as there are waves and waves of water arising continuously on the sea, here on the reality itself, the words which are also of the nature of reality are arising like waves. Just as the grains of sugar are not different in sweetness, the words of commentary being impregnated with the juice of Brahman are also not separate from that juice. There, as the sense of joy of Brahman has put together both the sense of I and the goddess Saraswati is one single plate. Wonderfully enough, the serpent Shesha has given a belch of satisfaction, who is himself the state of non-duality, and thus only the words of the whole story are being expressed through that state. Now we shall bow to the saints who, like the clouds of inward joy, pour that joy on the people who are harassed by the problems of life, and thus make them cool and happy. Thus, these saints are the ornaments of energy or the decorations of the spiritual wisdom or the God's own beautiful temple of residence. They are the resting place, the resort of absolute Brahman, or the ecstasy of happiness, or the trustworthy place of rest for the rest. Or these saints are the oceans of kindness towards all, the maternal home of compassion, or the beautiful limbs of the abstract, which glorify the inner joy of the self. Or they are the vision in the eyes of even the satisfaction of that vision, or are those in whose toe of the foot even the satisfaction itself is satisfied. These saints are such that those people at whom they look with kindness are freed from fear and calamity, and for them the absolute Brahman stands clearly visible of its own accord. They do not care much about the 4 qualifications of sadhana or for the play of erudition of scientific knowledge, but only plain devotion and purity of mind is sufficient to invoke the light of their knowledge. This is very beautiful. So what does Eknath Maharaj say? He's saying very simply, without the grace of the saints, we have to honor, and especially the Guru, most important. And Guru is the doorway to God. Without the grace of the Guru, one cannot get knowledge and even love and devotion. And what is he saying? Above all, the saints, just their look will remove all your fear, remove all your calamities, and so many things happen. But we do not understand the preciousness of this, divinity in our life. We look at them to be some ordinary mortals. Take the example of Sai Baba. Take the example of Jnaneshwar Maharaj. He's also Lord. It's an incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna Bhagavan himself. Take the example of, Kabir. Take the example of Tukaram Maharaj. All these are great saints, and they only followed the path of love and devotion. So what is being told here? It is not the knowledge that you need to carry or do any kind of sadhana. He's saying, right, very clearly, he says, the 4 qualification of sadhana is also not required. All you need is only plain devotion, and most important, the purity of mind. See, this is a very, very important thing. And as Eknath Maharaj explains throughout the chapters, he'll say what has Lord Shri Krishna was telling to Uddhava. And then Eknath Maharaj expounds on that. And he in simple words, he's telling a common man about how we need to have this purity of mind, how we need to be devoted, how we need to conduct ourselves in the material world and in our spiritual world, both. If you're interested in the path of spirituality, you need to conduct yourself in certain manner. Most important, purity of your mind. Our mind has to be very pure. We have to have devotion. Goodness of heart is extremely important. It is not just that purity of mind comes just like that. We should always, sow the seed of good thoughts in our mind. And that is when it bears fruits, which is all good thoughts, right? If you're thinking negative, we are always going to do negative actions as well. Our thoughts create, you are what you think. It's said, right? Lord Buddha says, you are what you think. So what kind of thoughts do you need to have? You need to have the thoughts which are very good, which is pure, which is always of goodness. It has to be always positive and not negative. Your thought should not harm anybody. It should not pull you down. So this is what we have to work on. So purity of mind plays a very important role, whether it is in the material or in the spiritual world as well. Then what does he say? They live in the world and every creature looks at them, but people are misled by doubt. And due to their disbelief, say that the saints do not exist. See, just now I was telling, nobody understands these people because they behave in a very unique manner. And the true saints, they do not wear some glamorous clothes. They do not wear some garbs. Did Sai Baba wear any glamorous clothing? No. He wore kafni. Take Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Ji. How was Ramakrishna Paramahamsa Ji dressed? He was very simple. He just wore a simple, dhoti types. That's all. Very, very simple and humble. Nobody will believe him. He's a very divine being. Because people go by physical appearance. They don't understand how to recognize the saints, how to honor them. Why? Because we get very much carried away on how do you look, the glamour aspect of it. So trying to wear some kind of a garb and, when you demonstrate all those things, that is not the mark or identification of a saint. In fact, as we evolve in the chapters, Eknath Maharaj has well also expounded in detail how do you recognize a saint and how do saints behave, which is what Shri Krishna Bhagavan is teaching Uddhava. How do you recognize these people in our world when Uddhava is going to ask a question? So let us wait till then and let us continue now. Really speaking, the world is at a loss because it does not trust and it is deceived due to doubt. For instance, Ekalavya, the son of a Billa, made a clay image of his guru Drona, and by faith only he attained mastery in archery. If we put our trust without doubt in our mind in these saints, and if by devotion and determination put our heads at their feet, there will be no shortage, for the inner Atmic power and self-experience will be evident in our life. So what is the most important thing? Absolute faith. It is not 99.99%. It is 100% faith and 100% surrender. See, we all have a guru. So your Gurudev is giving you an instruction. But do you follow that instruction to the T? Why is that faith not there? Why are you doubting him? Why are you giving concessions to yourself? The faith has to be absolute. Even if you have little less faith, then your development doesn't happen. And that's what he's saying very beautifully. So when we most respectfully bowed before them, they established immediately our unity with them. But it is our duty to remain their servant as if we belong to them. What is it called? That exclusive devotion. That's what he's saying. This is very important. But how many do you do? No, we get very lost in our material world. Our attachment is so strong with the body, my relative, my husband, my wife, my children, my office, my colleagues. So many things were attached. But here, the one attachment which will give you, liberation, which will redeem you from this suffering, the miseries of the material worldly existence. Like this. But what do we do? We are not attached to that. That's what he's saying. Just wish that little faith that you have, just like a servant, as if we belong to them. They are our real family. What does Krishna Bhagavan say? It is Vasudeva Kutumbam. So our real family is him. His universe is our family. But we are only, so selfish. I, me, myself. It is me, my house, my children, my family. That's all we consider. But we are not considering him as our father, him as our mother. Why not? That is what we have to develop. And the comparison of the enjoyment of the state of Brahman falls short of the sweetness inherent in the service to these saints. And only those who serve them with individual faith can taste the real sweetness of the state of Atman. It is only through Guru's, bhakti and Guru Seva, service unto the lotus feet of your Gurudev, service to the saints, whoever your Guru might be, or any of these saints. Till you do not do service, you can't experience that sweetness, that oneness of this bliss, of divinity. So service is very important, and most important thing, when you serve, what happens? It also, it eradicates a lot of sins within you. It absolves of lot of sins that we have done in our life. So the only way, Guru Bhakti, Guru Seva, to attain the love and devotion. Without Guru Bhakti, Guru Seva, you cannot progress on the path. There's a beautiful saying, right? Only if you do Seva can you eat Meva. Meva is a sweet, right? So if you want to eat the sweet, you have to do service. There's a very beautiful story, I'm going to say it in a very short, in a short way. So this is about Pundalik. There's a person, and it is about in Kukud Swami. So I'm going to give a very short story. So Pundalik goes to search for his parents, because his parents have their old father, mother, and because there is an issue with Pundalik's wife, the father and mother leaves house and they go away. So Pundalik feels very sad and he goes running to find his parents. So they have gone somewhere to north and he comes to know. So while he's going in search of his parents, he stops at this ashram, Kukud Swami's ashram. And there what happens, because it is too late in the night, so he just rests over there. And suddenly he sees 3 ugly looking women. Their clothes, everything is so dirty and they're ugly looking. They all enter, 3 of them enter from the Ganga river. They enter the Kukud Swami's ashram. And then he's watching what they are doing. So what do? They go and clean the ashram. They are washing the Kukud Swami's clothes. They are cooking for him. They are washing the dishes. They are cleaning, they are sweeping, they are mopping, then they are putting his bed. They're doing everything, Then by the time they all finish and he falls asleep, and then he sees suddenly very early morning, then 3 beautiful goddesses come out. They look so beautiful, they're wearing the pristine of the clothes and they all are going into the Ganga river. And he's following them and he's wondering, in the last night, I saw 3 ugly looking women entering that place with all the dirt and their clothes so dirty. Now, who is this goddess who's, going out? Then he sees all of them go into the river and they disappear. And then he runs to the Ganga river. And there he's praying, he's praying to the goddess and saying, can you please tell me who you are? I want to see you. So goddess Ganga comes there, right? She comes and then she says, okay, what do you want to know? Then he asks her a question. Last night I saw you all so dirty and suddenly you all went so beautiful. You're all dressed so, pristine, gorgeous. Like, of course, goddess they are. And so goddess says, so she tells him that we come in every night. We do service to the Guru there, Kukud Swami. We come and offer our service. And then she explains, it is only when we serve the Guru do we become pure. See, it is not Ganga who removes the sins of the world. It is only when the Guru's lotus feet is dipped in the Ganga does she get purified. The greatness of the lotus feet of the Guru is what you need to understand. So she says, the greatest thing that one can do is to serve in the Guru's ashram. So every night they come and do service so that they are absolved of all their sins, karma, and they become very divine. They become pure. So that is what she gave. A beautiful story. So this is to give you an understanding why Guru Bhakti and Guru Seva forms the foundation of your spiritual development. Otherwise it doesn't happen. So let us continue. The saints are beyond the Prakriti, the creation, remain within the creation, but they are not blemished by the forms, the modifications and the activities of the Prakriti because of their free state. They are not averse to enjoyment through senses and do not glorify their sacrifice, but remain eternally in their natural state. Here also it's very beautiful. What is he saying? They are not averse to enjoyment though through senses and do not glorify their sacrifice. They are not... See, they don't consider themselves as a body. The body is the one which is performing the action. And what comes to them naturally at that moment in time, they just do it. So if somebody is giving them food to eat, they will eat as if they are enjoying that food. But in reality, it is not them who's eating the food, because they have no connection with the mind. There is no mind existing in their world. They are the Atman. They are the Parabrahma. So they don't identify themselves with the body. This is what you need to understand. Because a common man, when they look at the gurus, a real master, they have these kind of doubts. Why? How come this Gurudev is eating like this? He's eating non-veg. Sai Baba used to make non-veg also. But how does it matter? The body is just doing its job. It's eating a food. Whether it's food, veg, non-veg, all that doesn't matter. So it is about the body is doing. They are not the body. It is the Atman. And also please understand, the body is used to eating certain food. They are by birth itself, they are born in a particular place. The body has, the divinity is used to eating certain food. They just follow that way of life, that basic food. So it's not about what you eat, how you live. And also what are they saying? They sacrifice a lot, but they don't glorify themselves. They don't say, oh, I am the greatest. I did so much. I took on somebody else's karma. I saved somebody else. Have you read the Poti? If you have read Sai Baba's Poti, in that there's a very beautiful story where Baba, suddenly he puts his hand in the dhuni. Why does he put the hand in the dhuni? Because somewhere the child has fallen, the mother was taking care, and suddenly the child falls in that, where she's cooking, right? There's a fire. And so Baba is saving, and his whole hand gets burnt. So they are not glorifying all of this, right? They don't say, look, I saved. Their job is constantly they are saving. But they will never speak. But an ordinary mortals or normal people who are not the real gurus, they will praise themselves. They will say, oh, how much sacrifice I have done. That is what here Eknath Maharaj is saying. They don't glorify themselves, but remain eternally in their natural state. They do not flourish their wisdom and knowledge. They do not flourish their wisdom and knowledge, nor show madness. They swallow the pride of having attained reality or the forgetfulness of everything in that respect, and remain in their ease. The waves of love which arise at the time of self-realization die down in their own body. Similarly, the ecstasy and the wonder which one feels at that time is also forgotten, and the worldly life and the spiritual life have become one. But even they do not remember all these things. There is nothing that they remember. Strangely, many a time, my Guruji will ask the same thing. He will say, Rajma, who came that day, or did we do this something? He will ask. Then I will say, yeah, I told you. But they don't remember, which is the truth. They are not going to keep all those things in their mind. So I will have to repeat to my Guruji, because he is not interested in keeping these petty worldly things in his mind. They're always lost in their own self. That is the mark of the real divine master in the world, and they remain incognito. They are never going to glorify. They are not going to say that I did this. They will not even open their mouth and ever say that. They will save so many people, but they will just not even speak about it. That is the mark of these gurus. So, the memory went away, taking with it the laws of memory. The body became merged in the body itself. The division of the inner and the outer was wiped out, but they did not remember whether it has gone or has remained. As they became awake in their own real state, the state of dream and sleep disappeared. The sleep, together with the sense of witnessing, flew away, and the supramental state of mind was maddened, being replaced by stillness of the fourth state. The object went away with seeing of the object, and the faculty of seeing was destroyed because of aloneness. Finally, their non-existence disappeared together with the knowledge, which causes that disappearance. The knowledge disappeared, taking with it the ignorance. The sense of being a knower was drowned, and with jnana, the special self-knowledge came into being in their consciousness. But it was not a new thing appearing as such. Now, it is my request as a child that the saints who are of this high rank and authority may please become alert and pay their attention to me. How sweet. But the sun is always full of light. Fire is always brilliant. Similarly, saints are always attentive. Therefore, my request to them for being alert and pay attention is really childish. After listening to this, the saints collectively congratulated me and again gave me orders to write this book in the Prakrit language. So this book, Eknath Maharaj wrote in Prakriti, that is Prakrit language, and then he explained it in the simple Marathi. So Prakrit is before Marathi, and Marathi is the language and where he translated and he explained that to the devotees, and so that the devotees can understand in a simple manner. And what is he saying? He needs everybody's blessing to commence this work. That's what he's saying. He's seeking all of their blessing so that this work of his can be done very successfully. The saints forced me both in private as well as openly to write this book, and I asked, sirs, which book should I begin? Please tell me. Upon this, the saint said, in the mythological books, Bhagavata is the greatest, and in that also the song of Uddhava Gita is the most important. Begin to write it. The God will be helping you as he is the true speaker. Very true. Like in Sai Baba's case, what does Dabolkar say? Oh, I don't know how I will be able to write your life story. So Baba tells him, who do you think you are to write? It is me who's going to get it written through you. So why are you thinking you are writing? You are just an instrument. You are an instrument in the hands of the divine Lord. So we should never think that, oh, I am the one who's doing it. The Lord gets his work done. We just have to be the best instruments in his hand to serve his purpose. That is what is extremely important. We are fond of stories containing knowledge, and we want these stories, and we have got a good writer who will talk very sweetly. What more is needed? So leaving aside our praise, start to give your commentary. We know that you get extra inspiration while praising the saints. But now begin with the story and start telling us about the main subject. By this blessing in the form of the talk of the saints, my mind was suddenly very happy, and by their words, kind words, my consciousness was bubbling with ecstasy. When in the sky the clouds thunder, the joy of the peacock knows no bounds, and when the bird Chatak gets the new drops of rain, his mind dances with joy. Or by seeing the light of rays of the moon, the bird Chakora moves by ecstasy. So the words uttered by the saints by their mouth have always been giving me joy. Sirs, you have really given me joy because you are yourself going to complete this task of yours. So why should I become a prey to the notion of I-ness? But a servant cannot flout the orders of the powerful owner. So I will obey the orders of Swami and carry out the work which is given to me by you. But only one thing I request you to do, and that is to give continuous attention so that by your kind blissful glance, the work will be soon accomplished. Upon this, the saint said, dear, we have put our mind into your mind, and we are following closely all your words. So begin your subject without delay. Now, we will bow to the family deity. So what we'll do is, now next he's starting with the obeisance to the family deity. So before it begins, I will stop here and we will continue the next bit tomorrow. So once again, thank you for joining Shri Eknathi Bhagavat Satsang. Today was the first day. If there is any error, I seek your pardon. So sorry about that. We will, go like what Eknath Maharaj says. I seek all the grace of the gurus and saints and gods and everybody so that we can beautifully do this satsang together. And thank you once again for joining the Shri Eknathi Bhagavat Satsang. See you all tomorrow. Have a good day and good evening to you all. God bless.